Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp.
What up, y'all? Welcome to Marriage Be Hard Conversations. I am MrsKevOnStage.
MrsKevOnStage.
And we are here to talk about marriage, love, and relationships with couples, singles, all type of things. But today, we have our new good friends. Y'all don't know they are good friends, but they are good friends. Please welcome to the show, Los and Tara. Y'all give me y'all real names. Before y'all introduce yourself, we went to Mexico with Los and Tara.
Yes.
And boy, we had a time.
Yes,
Most of
we
that
did.
time will remain within the people who was there.
Correct.
But let me tell y'all, we got
We
some
had a
memories
time. Yes,
down
we
in
did.
Cabo San Lucas.
Yes.
Boy, we was down in them people's country. Just know, you can kick it with Los, but you can't hang with them. So, please, Los and Tara, introduce yourself, who y'all are, what y'all do. Let the people know what it is and what it ain't.
Oh man, what it is, what it ain't.
Put your
what
mic
it gon-
close to you, Lo.
What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. I'm your boy, Carlos Coleman, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Catarah Coleman.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and she's from.
Oh, okay. You know how we doing it. I'm from Green Cove Springs, Florida.
Absolutely, man, and we just glad to be here, man.
Yeah, if y'all
Yeah.
don't know, Los was in Churchy as well. I want to say episode 5 or 6. Maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. He was in one of the cold opens from Churchy. And Catarah owns Southern Girl Desserts.
Yes.
Southern Girl Desserts, which has physical locations, and y'all be
Yeah,
mailing.
we have
Yeah.
2 locations in LA, one in Watts and one in Baldwin Hills Mall.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tara be baking, but we just been hanging with Los and
up.
Tara and Tab and Chance,
Yeah.
and we've been.
That's how we met them.
We met
Yeah.
them through Tab and Chance.
Yeah.
We was over there. We learned how to play tunk.
Oh, that's
Together.
right.
Come on now.
We was playing tunk over there.
Drop
We were
'em.
dropping on that
Drop
21  year.
them.
on the
You
CD.
got to drop
I
them.
didn't even get to finish it. I got the game and asked the question and got
Man.
kicked off the table.
We got to, you gotta know how to drop them now.
Oh man, we was having a good time
time.
playing tongue,
Absolutely.
and I
That
I
was
play a
fun.
lot of mostly spades.
Yeah.
But tongue ain't nothing but gin rummy for black.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
gin
Tara.
rummy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's in the same family.
Yeah, it's kind of the same family.
Tongue
Yeah.
is a beautiful game when
Oh.
you with your people and you at the table
Yeah,
and
it's
y'all
fun.
know what y'all doing
Oh,
and y'all
yeah.
talking a little smack.
Oh,
I'm
it's
going down.
I'm going, and we sipping a little.
Yeah.
You saying a little.
Yeah, you having
Yeah.
the time
Oh,
of
it
your
was a
life.
good time.
It was a good
man.
time.
It was a good
Absolutely.
time.
It was a good
Yeah,
time. So
funny.
on the Marriage Be Hard podcast, as you guys know, we're talking to some of our favorite couples about the realities of marriage. And listen, marriage is beautiful. Marriage also sometimes be hard. And we're going to talk
absolutely.
about a little bit of it all. You won't just get the hard part of marriage. We
Yeah.
also talk about some of the beauties of marriage. So let's start with this. Well, no, before we start there, please tell us your love story. How did you guys meet?
It's somewhat the same for a little bit until he started to, go off and say
Oh,
his
man.
part.
So listen,
We love 2 versions.
We love 2 versions here.
Go ahead,
I
baby.
may as well go ahead and start since mine be changing.
I'll tell you when you're not right.
We met at West Angeles Church of God in Christ.
Yeah.
Under Blake.
Yeah,
Under Blake.
Charles Blake.
Yeah.
I walked into the sanctuary in 2006, I want to say.
Yeah.
That was when I first saw her.
And he had these long locks in his
Yeah,
head.
yeah, locked out, you know.
Yeah. Y'all know
Hanging
Los
and
had
swinging,
locks.
you know what I mean? Hanging and swinging. And that time I had just took my braids, I think, so they were curly too. You get what I'm saying? I had on a ice cream plaid type
Come
shirt.
on,
you
and
know what I
remember
mean?
it.
Absolutely. And when I hit the corner and she was standing in the wing, she had on a red peplum dress.
No, come
with
on and know
white
that it was
pearls,
peplum.
You know what I'm saying? Peplum.
Peplum,
Okay.
I don't
All right,
know.
well, pick
Whichever
it.
one.
I don't know.
It might be
High-waisted.
peplum.
I don't know.
We gonna find out today.
They'll-
They're
They're
gonna be in the
gonna
comments.
let us
telling
They
us,
gonna
First
tell
of all,
us.
it's peplum.
No, that Melissa's wrong. It's peplum.
And so look, hit the corner. She's standing there, man. She had short, spiky hair, and just. I looked at her like, man, she's fly, right? And just that moment of when you see your woman for the first time and you had that thing that hit your heart and that just kind of hit your gut. You don't really know what it is, but it's there. And so
Yeah.
from that point on, we would see each other in the wing. I never spoke to her at that time. And so I saw her again at Tuesday night Bible study. We would have Tuesday night Bible study
For the young
every
adults at the
Tuesday
church.
for the young adults. And I was standing on the wall.
Let me tell them how you said it. So standing on the wall, this is our first time having an actual interaction, and he stands with one foot up on the wall.
Oh, Los, you ain't post up, did you?
From the, hey, baby, you know what I'm talking about.
You ain't post up.
I had to let her know. You know what I mean? I'm in the church but I'm one of them coolers, you know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them lames, you know what I'm saying? I love God, but I love how to hang out too, you know what I mean?
Lord, so he go, what up, shawty?
Straight Atlanta.
That's the first thing he ever says to me. And I was like, oh, you're from the South. You know, because I was so excited because I was like, oh, I met somebody, you know, from the South, being from Florida. Like, okay, somebody cool in L.A.
Yeah.
And from there, I had a T-Mobile flip phone, you know, that sidekick. And so,
She had the sidekick.
She different out here.
and I was like, you know, we gave each other, he gave me his number, and I was supposed to call him because we went away for like Christmas or whatever, and I didn't call him. So I think your number was wrong in the phone.
I gave you the right number. Don't play me.
I don't remember why I didn't call him, but when we got back, I was like, oh my God, this is why I didn't call you. And so not long after, he asked me out for Valentine's Day. So this
Hold on.
we're in that time right now.
Don't speed through it. Don't speed through it.
Don't speed through
Don't
it.
speed
Don't
through
Hey,
it.
that was like
Because
a month later.
she came back from Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you trying to play your boy. You know what I'm saying? You know when you give your number to a
Everybody
lady,
trying to play.
you want to see if she interested in you, right?
Yeah.
Versus sometimes that call.
Yeah.
I started the movement of making sure, do you like me like I think you might like me? You know, to give me a call sometime.
But what gave you the inclination? Was y'all just like catching
Well,
each other's
Y'all come
eyes?
close most of the
other.
time. Make sure y'all stay close.
So
I wanted-
we saw each other for a month or two.
Yeah, just
every
looking
Sunday.
at each other. And
So, like,
constantly
catching eyes
catching
and stuff.
eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, we
So-
caught
Y'all
eyes.
catch each other on the
was
worship?
catching
Like,
eyes.
We
girl,
did.
watch our
Yeah, her
worship.
praise was well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I saw how she tarried before the Lord. You dig what I'm saying?
I passed the same test.
And so when I saw those things, and then she came in, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
go time. And
Okay,
so
got
I
it.
made the very first introduction, and of course she went home. But when she came back, I'm like, wait a minute, what's up?
Hey, holla at your boy.
Call me. And she was like, oh, you know, this, that, and the third, right? But what she gave me at that time now was the business card that I still got to this day.
Do you
know
really?
what I mean? And she said, well, let me give you my Florida number, 850. Yeah, you know what I mean? So she gave, I said, okay, I get the real thing now. You know, and I looked at the card, I'm like, man, she really about her business too. So it just all those things played, and that's why I didn't want you to speed past, you know, because I had to pull up on you because you tried to play your boy.
Try to
you
push
know
it
what
to
I'm
the
saying?
side.
She tried to push it to the
It sound
side.
like that's
you
what she
know,
did.
You
you
know
know
what
how
I'm
when you
saying?
get in that part of your life where you like, I'm not really trying to like date nobody or nothing like that. But then he came along and it just kind of opened up that opportunity to really get to know who he was, because we really were friends for a long time
for real.
before we actually started dating. So I think we were friends for maybe 3 years before we made it official.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were friends.
Were y'all
first.
hanging out in
We were
like
hanging
mixed
out
company or
where
just
we
alone?
were.
In ministry and in mixed, you know,
Yeah.
alone at times. Like she was saying, I called her and we had a long conversation, like a real long conversation. And Valentine's was coming up because it was around the new year. And so I asked her, like, what you got going? You know, what you doing for Valentine's? She's like, I ain't doing that. Well, I ain't doing that neither. You know what I mean? You want to come through? And so that was the first time that we actually had an official date together. Where she came to my apartment downtown
I
on
went and
Wright
brought
Street.
a new dress.
Yeah.
I did. I was so excited. And he cooked dinner for me.
Did you, Lo?
I cooked.
Yeah.
Come
What
on
you
now.
cook, Los?
I look broccoli, chicken and cheese casserole.
Casserole.
There we go.
Come on now.
He went to what he know.
Broccoli, chicken and cheese. That's the go-to
Yeah.
meal. You did?
Then he was like, we going to watch ATL because you got to know where I'm from. So we watched the movie ATL.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But she
See
was
my
so
dad at house.
she was so
Yeah.
real though. Like, because we just sat down on the floor. I had a futon.
In my new dress.
I didn't have a bedroom. I was
It was a
in
studio.
a studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With that small kitchen, with that small bathroom. We sat there, watched ATL. She ate my food and loved it. You know what I mean? 'Cause I took my
good.
time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I had to
That
make
boy
sure
talented.
It was
this
good.
batch got to be right. Now. I
Yes.
can't have too much salt in
Come
there. You know
on.
what I mean? I need the ratio of
All of it to be
mushrooms
correct.
and broccoli and rice to be right. And the fact that she came through and we
Yeah.
talked even more and we got the chance to know each other even more. That's really what sparked this love story to be able to stand here to this day. And through it all, man, we've been
Yeah.
cool.
So
and
how
kicking
many
it.
years is that total y'all been together and married?
15 15, 16 years together.
Because I don't even not count the years we were friends, because we were still like liking each other and kissing on
talking.
each other.
Yeah,
Oh, y'all doing a little necking?
Yeah, we were
were
talking.
talking.
Yeah, we were talking.
We was doing that. We were going out on dates and stuff, but we weren't exclusive,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we weren't like that. But when we really got exclusive was in 2009.
2009.
That's when we said and I said, hold up, I gotta go put it on Facebook. I gotta
update it. It's only
You
official.
remember when you had to update your
Yeah.
Facebook
That's the only
status?
time it was real.
Status. It was real. And I knew it was getting closer to that because he was taking me around his people, his friends. That's when I, first met Tab and Chance, when he was taking me around them and, going around other friends and family and things like that. So I was like, okay, so we're moving toward something
serious.
Yeah. And that's when we made it official.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll get into the rest of the episode.
Let's take a break from this episode and tell you about our sponsor, BetterHelp. We all know that in the day and age that we're living in, we need help. It's me. I'm the person that needs all the help that I can get. You all know that I love and relationships. I host this podcast. I wrote a book about it. I had a previous podcast. But what I also know is I don't know it all and I can't do it all. And so having an outside third party come in and offer you different perspective, offer you some interventions, those kind of things I have found to be extremely helpful in my personal growth, development, and my pursuit of my goals, like trying to accomplish my goals. Kevin and I, obviously, we do have a therapist that we use. We had such a really great session about a week ago. Maybe a week and a half ago, where we were talking about a conversation that we had that I walked away thinking it went really, really well. Kev had a completely different experience when we left that conversation than I did. And so we ended up talking about it in therapy, and I just apologized. I was like, I am so sorry, because I promise you, how you received it is not at all what I meant, and I apologize I didn't communicate correctly and it landed on you that way, and that I was completely oblivious that it hurt your feelings, and I'm responsible for that, and I really truly didn't mean it. So I am so deeply sorry. And it was just a really, really great session, and I know we couldn't have done that, had that breakthrough on our own. You need that third party to ask the questions and just kind of circumvent defensiveness and kind of get to the meat of what you're saying behind the words that are coming out of your mouth. And I just find that therapy is one of those tools that can really, really help you navigate your relationship. I've found that marriage is nothing more than the constant negotiation of your differences, and having a therapist there that can help you negotiate those differences and navigate those differences has been extremely easy, has been extremely beneficial. And BetterHelp is a great way to start therapy if that's something that you're thinking about. Why? Because number one, it's entirely online. It's designed, its whole way that it was designed is to be convenient, flexible, and suited to meet your schedule and your needs. It's really easy to start. You're going to go online. You're going to fill out a brief questionnaire. They're going to send you a few different matches, and they're going to license therapists. And they're going to have their bios and their skill sets and what they're good at, that kind of thing. And then you can choose which one you want to work with. And if you choose them, you have a meeting, you realize, this kind of doesn't vibe with me. You can change at any time at no additional charge. BetterHelp has thought of it all, and they do it all, okay? So right now, if you are looking to start your journey in therapy, if you're looking for more balance, if you're just looking for help, if you're looking for someone to talk to, BetterHelp is the way to start. What I need you to do is go to betterhelp.com/MBH. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MBH. Now let's get back to the show.
Thank you to our sponsors. Thank y'all for supporting the Marriage Be Hard podcast. What are we talking about, Liz?
Well, right now we're talking about Catarah, and we're just gonna call you Tara.
That's fine.
All right, Catarah and Lowe's love story. This is a beautiful love story. So you guys started dating, or no, you met in 2006.
Yes.
Became official. It sounds like Valentine's Day 2009.
I think we were official from the beginning. But
We were official from the beginning, but
spoke
2009, I had left church. I was in class, just learning Old Testament. And so I had went to her apartment that night. I said, come downstairs. You know what I mean? And she came down, and at that point, I'm like, listen, we either gonna do this or we ain't. Like,
How
listen,
old are you guys?
20s in our
late 20s.
late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
late 20s at that time. And so that was 2009 when it was official, set in stone, where we say, let's rock, let's make a move.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now let's fast forward your official 2009.
Yeah.
And then when do you propose? What does that look like? And then go straight to when you guys got married. So
Okay.
then we can talk about marriage.
Okay.
So I proposed to Tara in 2013.
Okay.
We were down in South Carolina at our brother J.R. and Precious's wedding. And I had thought about doing it on the beach, just us doing it. And they were like, nah, man, like, you can do it here. I'm like, you sure?
Right.
Because I ain't trying to be that one.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
yeah.
I wasn't trying to be that one. They were like, nah, man, you can do it there. And so talked to mom, had moms and pops come in because I definitely
Yeah.
needed to have her family there.
Yeah.
And so Etta James at last was playing, and we were just dancing.
But hold up,
Right.
before we get to that.
Okay.
So I'm sitting at the head table, right? Because we were both in the wedding party.
Yeah.
And Los is out on like it's in a marsh
dock of the
because it's in
bay.
South Carolina. He was like out in this
Talking
like
to God.
he was out there, and I was like, oh, look at him. What is he doing? Like, and I just at that moment was like overwhelmed with like love for him, not knowing that he was going to propose, not knowing he was out there praying.
Oh, wow.
Look at that man
I
of God.
did not know. We talked about it later, and I was like, "What were you out there doing?" And that's what he told me. But that was in preparation for that night. And when he asked me, I would have said yes, but having that feeling and that experience prior to him asking,
almost, like,
it was
confirmed it.
confirmation that he was the man that I was supposed to like marry.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and continue with this.
So, that was the proposal. We had a great time at last. But, we were dancing, and then everyone backed up.
Oh,
Right.
this is
Yeah.
nice.
She
So
had this all
I
planned.
let the wedding party know, you know what I mean?
Did you
And so-
feel like, wait, what?
At
Something
first,
happening?
like, because I had always told him that I wanted to be proposed to after that song, but in that moment, I was just with him. So
it wasn't clicking?
it didn't click until I'm like,
Where everybody at?
where everybody? And I'm like, everybody backing up, and then I instantly went into like waterworks. Like I did not want to be the girl that cried like that, but y'all, I actually ran away.
Did you?
Yeah, everybody was like, it was like, get
Yeah.
back in there. You know?
I had to hit it with that deep. Come back, girl. You know? Come on over here.
I literally ran away because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And Etta James started playing in the song. Everybody's out the way. It's just us in the middle. And he gets on one knee and he just starts just going through our love story and telling me how much he loves me and how he was looking for a dime. He always had
A diamond.
a diamond.
Trying to rhyme. I'm a low-key poet out there.
But it was just absolutely beautiful. And then he pulled the ring out, and I was like, wow. So it was already an amazing moment. And then my mama and daddy done popped out, and I lose it again.
Yeah.
So it was just a beautiful.
That's
That's
beautiful.
It was a great time. So fast forward to MIA, yo.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
got married down in Miami.
Okay.
The year of our good Lord and Savior, 2014.
Yeah.
July 26th. You dig what I'm saying?
Oh, you got married.
And I'll go ahead and let you talk about Miami. I'm just kick
Oh my
back.
God.
You know what
So
I mean?
Miami was one of the best times of our lives. That was like the best way to kick off this union because we had all of our family and friends there. And when I tell you, they all came down. No one knew his family versus my family because they just
Gelled
are
together.
So much, they're gelled together. They're so much
Yeah.
alike. And
On the elevators and everything. Like, you
and I was
couldn't
like,
tell them
oh,
apart.
they were kicking it
Wow.
together. And I'm like,
Man.
oh, we met. This, we filmed. And I mean, we had the best time. We started on that Thursday, and we did.
Say the weekend.
We did the stay the weekend
Say the
thing.
weekend. Don't say no
We
date.
had-
Say the weekend.
we
when
had
you come kick it
cognac.
with us.
That's a good
That's-
idea.
That's how
Cognac
I'm
and
doing my
chicken
renewal.
first
Tell
night.
us
Cognac
about
and
it.
chicken?
Come on.
Cognac,
I love
chicken,
it.
and
Chicken and
carbs.
cognac.
I
and
love
carbs.
it.
Triple
First
C.
night.
I love it.
So we had everybody come up to the suite we had and played cards, drank cognac,
Oh, I
and
love
ate
this.
chicken.
That's the blackest thing.
Hey, face going down all day. You
love it.
understand me?
Cognac and chicken and carbs.
That's it.
Yes.
With them
Sign
comments,
me
come kick
up.
it. We having a good
This
time.
is how I would like to spend the evening.
I
Yeah.
love this.
So good.
Yeah,
And it
bomb.
was just great. And I actually did my bachelorette party down there that weekend.
I
So
did
he did
mine
his
as well.
too.
Yeah.
And then we went into that Saturday. We had rented this big bus, and like 50 of our friends got on that bus. It had a DJ on it. We had drinks. It had a little entertainment.
Had a pole on there.
there.
Man, we can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
grown.
Yeah.
We
A
grown.
little entertainment.
It was
It
some
had
other
a
little
pole
Very
on
good.
there.
Trinkets and activities.
It had a pole, it had a
We
DJ, and we
had
had it
a
ready.
good
I love
Yes,
it.
Lord.
I
We
love it.
had a
We
time
had a
last
time
night.
last night, and we took 50 of these people, and we went all the way down to like Brickell in Miami, and
Yeah.
had this hall rented out.
Oh, I love it.
And everybody ate. Like it was like a Cuban spot.
Dolores, but
You can call me Lolita. Oh God, it's the best Cuban food ever.
Hey, whenever
Wait,
y'all-
that's the name of the restaurant?
Yes,
it's
Dolores,
called
but you can
Dolores,
call me
but you can call me
Lolita.
Lolita.
Yeah.
That don't even match as a
It's-
name. You know it's
Hey,
gonna be
But
good.
it's
You
so
know it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's good. When we were you're going down there, like
Yeah.
planning for the wedding, our wedding planner, she told us about it. She was like, y'all need to go try it. So we tried it. I'm talking about, we were like, yeah, they going
This
to love
it.
this.
Yeah.
And when I tell you,
They
they love
loved
that.
it.
Man.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
And it was
Absolutely.
great because we had all of our friends and family who weren't in the wedding, who couldn't give a speech like the day of,
Yeah.
Mhm.
to
That was
be
their
able
night
to say
talk.
things. So
Y'all talk
we-
tonight.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah,
not
y'all
gonna be
talk
on the
You know how they
tonight.
do at the wedding. They'll
Yeah.
try to take it from you.
Yeah,
huh?
man.
Taking the last break of this episode to tell you about Manscaped. Ladies, what's around the corner? Father's Day. That's right. You forgot, didn't you? I know you did. That's okay. I'm here to help you. Father's Day is around the corner, and you need to get the man or the men in your life a gift, whether that's your daddy, your husband, or your brother. Okay. Now is the time to start thinking about it, and I have the perfect gift for you. It is called Manscaped, okay? They're here to get your man together from face to waist, okay? They have everything that you need. This is the perfect gift, okay? Have him join the over 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code, and use code MARRIAGE at manscaped.com. Male grooming is important, okay? I know men, y'all don't know it is, but it is. From your face. We like a good, nice, smooth face. And Manscaped's going to help you get there. Not only that, but for the times where you make the men in your life a dad, okay, follow me. You also need, some care in the below the waist area, okay? Follow me, all right? I know you see what I'm saying between the lines of what I ain't saying. I know you do. So let's start with the ultimate Father's Day MVP, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Inside this package, you will find a signature beard hedger trimmer, beard shampoo, conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, and 2 free gifts with their signature beard comb and scissors. Let me tell you something. Kev uses the beard oil. Actually, he uses the shampoo, the conditioner, and the beard oil. Game changer. Men, if your beards are scruffy, if they are rough, if they don't feel gentle and nice to the touch, you probably need to shampoo it, condition it, and add oil. Do not neglect the power of taking care of that beard and getting it real nice and moisturized and glistening under the lights. Don't listen, don't sleep on that, okay? Get your man, ladies, get your man together. Let him know. You got to shampoo that thing. You got to condition that thing. You got to put some oil on that thing, okay? With 20 hair cutting lengths and a signature guard, he'll be able to craft his look like never before without the mess in the drawers. Something we ladies can all appreciate. And if he doesn't have a beard, he needs to try the Performance Package 4.0. This beautiful bundle is absolutely daddy or zaddy material. It includes their signature Lawn Mower 4.0, brand new Weed Whacker 2.0, ear and nose hair trimmer. Okay, they include a ball deodorant, a toner, boxer briefs, travel bag, all the things, okay? So what I need you to do right now is go to manscaped.com, use code MARRIAGE, and get 20% off plus free shipping. Make this Father's Day one he won't forget with Manscaped. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use code marriage. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Let's get back to the episode. You got
I used to wipe Lowe's butt when he was a baby. We don't need that right now.
All those
we don't
stories
need that
were
right
told
now.
on that night.
Yeah.
And it was just so beautiful to hear from them and how
Yeah.
they felt. So we did that. And then that Saturday was the wedding. And the wedding was great. It was awesome. It couldn't have been any better than what we could have imagined. And then the next day, everybody went to the beach and was in the water for
5,
hours.
6 hours.
Yeah, from like about 6
sounds like a
hours,
great
7
time.
hours.
That sounds amazing.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hanging
Yeah.
out,
We had a
kicking
good
it.
time.
And then the last little crew stayed back that Sunday night, and we all went out to
Oh yeah, we went out to where we
it was a
were?
little
South
ocean,
Beach.
South Beach
Oh, yeah,
on
we went
Ocean
out to Ocean
Boulevard.
Drive.
We had drinks this big, and we just had a good time.
Yeah.
Our last little group hung out with
This
us.
is great.
I love it.
That's
Yeah.
how you do it.
That's
Yeah.
how you do
It was good. It was
And my
fun.
yo-yo was good. That
That's
was
fantastic.
that
I
was
want to
dope.
go back.
Yes. I see the smile on your face. It's bringing back good memories.
It is.
Okay, so you guys have been married now for how long then?
9
8 years, 9 years in
9
July.
years this year.
Okay, so let's talk about how did you guys get through the pandemic? How was that for you guys?
The pandemic was good for us,
was.
honestly. We literally had just came off of a high because my brother had got married New Year's Eve, right? And so we come back into LA like, man, we ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
January hit, February hit. I had some things that I had to do, surgery that I had to have on my back at the top of the year. And so right when the pandemic hit, that's when I had surgery. So I was laid up on my back for real.
Yeah.
Right. And in that, it was a real deep moment of thinking about what life is going to be going forward, really praying at that time for the blessing of healing and all those things. So we were really in a space of come what may, we're going to be good, right?
Yeah.
With that situation, with my physical situation. So when the pandemic hit, we stuck with that mindset as much as we truly possibly could through it
Yeah.
all. And so we really had a real good time during the pandemic with each other, and we got a chance to talk even more.
Yeah.
Like that thing, they were like, if you really like your partner for real, you
You're
gonna learn
gonna
it. We
find out.
learned it. Like we really learned it. Like, and I told her a long time ago, a lot of times more than I love you, I like you. And I
Yeah.
found out why during the pandemic.
Yes, that's
'Cause
beautiful.
She made days great, and the days that she wasn't feeling it, I made them, tried to make them greater for her.
Yeah.
And so we had that's how I felt like the pandemic was for us.
Yeah, we was spending time in the house, and I was grateful because I'm a business owner, so I was like, I don't gotta go nowhere.
Yeah.
I can stay home, and we can just have this time together because anytime I can spend with Lois, I'm with it. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoy him. So you had to stay at the house with I'm sorry, I can't come. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to do all of that. I can literally be locked up in the house with him. We had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, because we both like a lot of the same things. So as far as television, having conversations, like cooking, and we just really use that time to just really grow and get to know each other even more.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
real.
let's take a really quick break to hear from our sponsors. And we're back. Thank you so much to our Marriage Be Hard sponsors. We're talking to Catarah and Lowe's. I love this. So you guys have taken COVID as an opportunity to grow and learn. Can you tell us some of the things that you did, maybe that was very intentional during that time? Because everyone didn't have a good time during the pandemic. And so maybe at this stage of their relationship, they're looking to grow and reconnect with their partners. What are some of the things you either did or you do to maintain that connection with one another?
Well, the pandemic was eye-opening for me because for a long time, I ain't gonna even lie, I thought I was like perfect. I know. I know everyone
This
thinks
is a
that
shock.
I am.
This is shocking because I actually do think Catarah is perfect. Catarah is a really
I
good
am,
time.
Melissa. I
No,
am.
I'm doubling. I don't know why they're laughing. I am serious.
It was a realization for me, like, I thought I was perfect.
I did. Not that not so much that I thought I was perfect. No one's
No, yeah.
perfect, but I really thought that my stink,
Right.
and that because Carlos is very transparent and very open about how he feels and and anything that he's working on, and I'm more like, well, I listened, but I wasn't sharing my stuff. And this gave me the opportunity to open up and say, well, you know what? I know that I do these things and I can work on this. And I'm going to use this time to work on me and to become a better spouse and a better friend to you, and not necessarily just put it on you for, things that, may happen, that I do play a part, that I can bring some things to the table that aren't necessarily good,
Right.
and I'm thinking like, well, I'm good. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So
This
that
sounds a lot like vulnerability, though, too.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a vulnerable space for us to be at that time. And two, we were both essential workers. Like, once I was healed, got back to work, with her having a bakery, she was able to still go into the bakery and make sure that the community was fed and got their sweets during a dark time. So it still gave us some time to come be a part during that moment. But what we did intentionally was we started going on walks more that we still do together today. We really were intentional about getting up during the pandemic and not just sleeping days away at times, to be able to spend that time together in the mornings. So those were a lot of the things that we carried through. And of course, we went to church still. Like,
y'all went in the sanctuary?
No.
Y'all was online.
We were literally in the living room with 2 chairs one Sunday. Got dressed the whole nine.
Got dressed?
I had a whole trench coat on, Kim. You know what I'm saying? That was Easter Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I got dressed, you understand me? But I had on the flops, though, because I kept it real. You dig? And so playing games and all of those different things allowed us to really be intentional about that time. And be intentional about each other, be intentional about our conversations. And that's where we said we needed to be willing, right, in this moment, to just deal with whatever we got to deal with, because we ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And through it all, we going to still be here together. But it gave us time where we really had to have some moments, because she came in one time when I was laid up, and she was like, man, this is hard. I don't know how to take care of you hurt, can't walk, your mama here, I got the business over here, you calling me, I'm calling you, and so
I was stressed, and I realized that wasn't right. But that's really when my whole checking myself came into play, because he was like, you really made me feel some kind of way when you was like, I'm laying up on my back and you're like, this is hard. And for me, I was like, even though it may have been challenging, that wasn't anything I probably should have expressed, in the moment, because I'm one of those people who can go through something, feel something, and then like I can hop right back out of it. But in that moment, I just felt like I had overwhelmed, and I had to like tell him, because when people not feeling good though, they can get a little snappy,
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's real.
He was coming at like from over here, and then I had like the business is definitely booming in 2020 with people wanting sugar and to help with whatever they were going through. So it was
Straight up.
and this was before we even kind of knew COVID was like
long term.
Like how long it's gonna be here, we don't know. And so it was like very, scary times in a way, uncertain, not knowing how things were gonna work. So I was all over the place, and I had to have some come to Jesus moments, because I was mean a little bit, I was mean.
It was good though. Like, it needed to happen. You dig what I'm saying? And I think that's the one thing that I love about our relationship. And for me personally, I'm a Taurus, so I know I can be stubborn. I can be very headstrong about a lot
I'm a
of
Taurus
things.
too, but I have none of those qualities. Literally not. I'm head soft, and I am not stubborn. I just whatever everybody wants to do.
Okay. Soft, son.
I don't know what this stuff
and
means.
I'm perfect.
Yeah. And so when it came to head, like, it came to a head at a time where, you can't run. Physically, I couldn't run. You know what I mean? You can't go to work. You can't do none of that. And so you got to deal with that. And so it took those moments of me healing physically, us healing collectively, spiritually, her having to come to that moment like, man, this is hard.
Yeah.
And me really having to hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the other part.
That's
Like,
sickness and health.
there's times when
Absolutely.
It's real.
I may have been laid on my back, but my mind was still strong, my spirit was still there, and
Right.
my ears wasn't broke.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
back just hurt.
Yeah,
Everything
and
else
really
so
bad.
I can hear what she's saying. I had to hear her heart. I had to hear all of those things, and so we got a chance to really break that down. What it meant for her to be like, it's hard. Now, for me, sometimes I feel like I need to get up fast at that moment. I felt like I needed to I need to heal.
Jump into
I need to
action.
heal now. You're right, and
But
so
you
You don't want to take care of me,
Yeah.
so I need to heal. You took that all the way over to the other side of the mountain.
well, not so much that you didn't want to take care of me because you were, but that if it's hard, I don't want it to be hard for you.
I gotta take that.
Yeah.
I gotta take that burden.
I
off
gotta
of
take
you.
that burden, right?
Yeah.
And so if it takes me getting up for it not to be as hard,
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of the reason that it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So let me remove me from the equation
Sure.
Right.
to try to help the household. Now, of course, as a man, it goes into different spaces. You're right.
1000%.
And having to now deal with those things, but outside of that, that was the thought process. Not so much that it was
Yeah.
like, let me remove myself from the equation by getting up
Yeah.
and getting going.
You know, I think it's so interesting, Los, that you say as a man. I think I will be honest. Probably the last year or two, I realized how many marital issues that I brought into our marriage that stemmed from as a man.
Yeah.
I should do this.
Absolutely.
As a man, I should be strong. As a man, I shouldn't share my fears. As a man, your problem is my problem. As a man, I'm supposed to fix stuff. And then as a partner, though, that stuff doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm just watching my dad, my pastor, the deacons, and all these retired military, they ain't shared an emotion with their wife in the history of ever.
Yeah.
They ain't never shared a weakness. They ain't shed a tear in life. And the problem was what was working for them, or maybe not working, wasn't working for me.
Right. Yeah.
But I didn't have no other example. These
Right.
the only people I saw was my dad. He ain't sharing no weaknesses.
And that's what you bring to the table.
So you bring, and you not only is it a problem, you think it's the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And then at
Yeah.
the same time, you know, we kind of all are conditioned by patriarchy. The man do this and submit and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. So my wife is having issues with this line of thinking, but feeling like if I say this, I'm not a right wife.
Yeah.
I'm nagging and
That's-
stuff.
Yeah.
that's
So
a
now
whole
you
nother
both
thing.
just getting into some bad habits, you know, basically carrying on the relationship of a generation past.
Yeah.
And thinking, oh, my granddad was married 20, 25 years, 35. And a lot of times they were unhappy.
They were unhappy.
That's real.
Yeah.
They just could not go nowhere.
Right.
So they was like, she can't go work, she can't get a credit card, so this nigga finna be who I'm with.
And she
Yeah.
just, she's like, I'm gonna just go ahead and deal with that.
Yeah, we have a
You
lot
know,
of color purple marriages.
Man, like, and that's one thing that we discussed was, first of all, we discussed gender roles before we
Yeah.
got married.
Yeah.
Like, do you expect me to cook and wash the dishes and clean the house and do all of the things, or is that something that you want to play a role in as well, right? So we
Yeah.
discussed gender roles. We discussed later into the marriage, actually, because I came from a 2-parent household. My parents are still married to this day, 43 years, and I saw what they did and thought that I had to come in and like not create. I didn't say a lot because I was like, I don't want to create tension where it don't need to be. You know, if my husband says something, then I'm just gonna be like, okay, babe, cool. Even though I am 100% not in agreement with what he's saying.
her husband would ask her,
I'm okay.
I want to hear your voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew me, right? I knew left to my own devices, I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so in that, I was not knowing how to articulate it in fullness at that time, early on in our relationship, but more so just saying, I need to hear your voice because of the things that I'm still working through
Right.
in this marriage, because of what I saw growing up.
Because I want
Right.
I also want to add this too, because my brother-in-law Greg, he's from the South, you know, from Atlanta as well. I will venture to say, I don't know if there's much research on it, but I think Southern black men also have a level of more strength than even black men from across the United States. There's, you know, where racism was the most prevalent.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I feel
agree
like
with you
they like
wholeheartedly.
the
Yeah.
more strong, more staunch than, you know,
Yeah.
than other men or people like me who bounced around a lot. And I think, you know, I want to ask you, do you feel like there were some parts of your character that you had to adjust to be a good partner for her that were contrary to how you were raised or the way you saw men?
Absolutely, because for me, I bounced around a lot myself. Right, I was raised in a single parent household. My mother and pops got divorced when I was 4 or 5 years old. I saw those proceedings. You dig what I'm saying? And so I saw a lot of different things that they went through at that time. Some things that were traumas for me when I was 4 years old, 3 years old with them. That I saw, but at the same time, I always longed for my father to be in my life, right?
Yeah.
And so not seeing them together, for me, was always, I need to do whatever I can to pull them back together, right? And that created a level of problems needing to be solved and things of that nature. So if there is none, I'm going to create some so they can
Create a
come
problem
solve
just
it,
so you can
Yeah.
fix. Ah.
right? And so some of those things began to create things for us where we would move around a lot, where I didn't have to deal with a lot of different things because we would leave, move different places here and there, left Atlanta, moved to Memphis. So, but I saw my grandfather when I got to Memphis. That was a pivotal portion for me to see a man with his wife every day, every morning, getting up, going out, going to work, grinding, hustling, doing what he had to do. My uncles played a very pivotal part in that, but they all had their thing too that I still saw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was, for me, I call it pieces of a man in a lot of different ways. So I had to find how to be a whole man in our marriage.
That's so good.
Los.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so good.
And so God blessed me with a woman that allowed me to grow through that process. Sometimes you don't get those partners that's going to allow you to really walk through that and grow through that with you. And so for her, where she's saying she was perfect, she was perfect for me. You dig what I'm saying? To be able to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And so one of the songs we listened to during our wedding and on our wedding party songs was Perfectly Different.
Yeah.
Right? Because I recognized and realized that we did come from two different worlds. A world that I desired to have, two-parent household, all those different things, but I did not have. But I was cool and comfortable in my own skin from how I was raised. I love my mom and my daddy. You know what I mean? What they went through is what they went through.
Yeah.
If they had not gone through it, I couldn't sit here today being who I am.
Right.
I couldn't be the man she needed or desired, you know what I mean? And I couldn't be able to see myself when I was doing things from a Southern perspective, because I want to get to your question real quick too. What I saw was a man cooking in the kitchen. My granddaddy cooked every morning. And so when I got married, he was like, "You ready to get in the kitchen?"
Oh my God. Yes.
And I didn't understand that parable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Until I got married and really like, oh, okay, let's get in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, this is where the heat come. And this is where I was the most secure and the most stable for the most portions of my life, that I had to deal with me.
Yeah.
You dig? And we had to do it together as a
Yeah.
collective. So
Man.
Do you guys I'm gonna take the last ad break.
Okay.
Thank you so much to the Marriage Be Hard sponsors. What was you about to say, Tara? Well,
Marriage be hard.
and talking and acts.
Man, it'd be hard. What I was gonna say was that I do feel like, though, in that time of me keeping, just not speaking out as much, he needed that to kind of just do what he needed to do, and it allowed me to figure out, okay, how do I want to? Who is this man that I'm dealing with, right? So I'm looking, I'm listening, I'm observing, and now I know how to really talk to my husband in a way where I can be vocal, I can say exactly what I need to say, and it can be received. Because I used to keep it a little back because I'm very like, when I hit, I hit.
Yeah.
Like when I told him, looking after you is just a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And so I was like, oh God, I don't want to be that person, because I know my words can be very brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to also be careful with how I handle, my words. So now I know how to communicate better,
Yeah.
and I can say exactly what I need to say,
Has communication be hard?
because it does.
It
Yeah,
really
it
hard.
is.
yeah, it does.
I remember Alyssa and I were having a conversation and, trying to be more honest with each other. And I mean, she said this with the most conviction and love. If you can't be honest with me and remain kind, then we have a problem. Like, you ain't got to talk to me crazy. I wasn't talking to her crazy, but we was talking about like more vulnerability, more honesty, more openness, more having conversations without trying to protect. I mean, trying to protect her by not saying stuff.
Yeah,
Right. She's saying, I want to hear that stuff. And my first reaction, bullheadish. Taurus is what they say, but I believe in Jesus.
I do too. Holy Ghost feeling fat.
You know, feeling like, I remember saying like, oh, so you want me to hurt your feelings, right? You want me to just give it to you straight. And she was like, you ain't got to, you ain't got to talk crazy to me.
Yeah.
You can be honest, but be kind. And I think by the grace of God, one thing my parents' marriage showed me is they argued. I never want to say they didn't argue. They argued, but they never argued out of pocket.
I got you.
Like, they had some calmly tense things, So I learned that my dad never called my mom out her name, never yelled. And previous relationships, I remember my mom being with my sister's dad, and it was slamming the table, smashing egg sandwiches, yelling and cussing. So luckily for me, that was only a small window of my life. And the majority of my life is a man who collected himself, was kind, was loving, unconditional. But I imagine if I lived in that first relationship the majority of my life, I would have a totally different outlook.
Absolutely.
Right? But that hadn't been asked of me to be honest, honest. I thought, being a man, this is how I protect you. You don't even worry about none of this stuff. And I remember I want to say money issues, because it wasn't that. It was just like, it was a lot of money spent at once.
I feel you.
So I'm just like, well, I will tour for the rest of my life now. I thought I was only going to do 6 months. Now I'm going Tupelo, Mississippi, Galveston, Corpus Christi. I'm going circuit. I'm the Chitlin circuit. And, we had to have this conversation. First of all, she was like, you realize, like, the money issues ain't money issues. And the other thing is, we just need to, all I'm asking for is for us to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Just to share it. But my answer to your earlier point, Loso, about fixing is, I'm going to fix it. We spent a lot of money at once, paid employees, payroll got paid twice somehow. Money was in an account that shouldn't have been. So now I'm like, it's my responsibility to go out and replace it. And that's not my sole responsibility.
Right.
Right. And just sharing my feelings, nothing really changed about the scenario, but just sharing my feelings with her is like, this makes me feel like I need to take more dates. Was something I never did in the past.
Man, that's the beautiful thing, right, about marriage, because you still got to grow through it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever that thing is, you still got to grow through that, right? And I choose that word carefully because we adopted not going through anything. And I believe the things that we speak out our mouth has really grown in our marriage for real. And with seeds planted and that are now forming and bearing good fruit in the way that we communicate and the way that we talk to each other. Because as you're saying, like, to be honest, to be truthful doesn't have to hurt.
Right.
It's already gonna hurt.
Right.
It's not, you know what I mean?
I don't want to know I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's already gonna hurt. And so
you don't have to be mean on top of that.
You ain't got to be mean on top of that.
Yeah.
Right? And so I had to learn that as well, because there were spaces where I was mean, right? Where I knew that, man, this is how I feel. This is what I'm trying to say. It's how I'm feeling, and you just gonna hear it.
And you feel like, oh, and you asked for this, so I'm gonna give it to you. I didn't ask for it like that.
And
I was mad because I wasn't saying,
right.
what I want. I'm like, but you. And then it's like tit for tat, because now it's late.
So now we talking about something else.
You talking about something 2012.
We ain't talking about this.
I'm like, but when you did it,
You did that.
you did that.
Shout out to Cabo.
It came from me not speaking up in those moments. So then when he does something or did something and I wanted to be like, well, he's like, well, you should have said it then. So I'm learning to say things in the moment versus waiting, because then it becomes a tit for tat where I'm bringing it up because something he triggered for me.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the hardest things about, I wanted to say bless you, but I don't know what you say when people cough.
I don't know.
You say hush, man. I know.
One of the things that's so hard about communication is that you do want to protect your partner. You want to protect their feelings, but you also want to be like honor how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding that balance between like not hurting someone's feelings, but also being honest, I think is the journey of communication.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important to like listen to podcasts, read books, you know, even low key, sometimes you can find a great person on social media that's sharing like tips and tricks. I follow this guy, I don't remember his name. I'm not going to try to tell y'all. But he gives like a lot of tips on like, you know, relationships and how to communicate and all of these different things. And I find them really, really useful because they're great way. You are going to do what you saw.
Yeah.
So if you saw your parents pick fights, you're going to pick fights. If you saw your parents fuss and argue and throw things and yell at the top of their voice, that's what you saw. That is what you were going to do. If you saw them be quiet and not say anything, but you felt tension in the air, like, I know they is mad at each other. But nobody said a word.
You picked that up.
You picked that up. And so it teaches you in your relationship how to do those things. So you have to unlearn. And then relearn.
Let me stop you because I'm gonna interrupt, but it's a good interruption.
Go ahead.
You just made me realize at this moment in time, I am doing what I saw my dad do.
Absolutely.
He picked up the burden himself. My mom's also disabled. She's legally blind. She cannot see. Shout out Donna Goodo. So he was in the Army, right? He drove her. She also had 3 kids. So he took on the burden of 3 kids at one time. He never complained. When there's an issue, he went out and got it and did it and picked it up. And for me, I'm like, well, this saved us. Because we would have been in El Paso forever being nothing. My mom couldn't see, but I didn't realize that picking up without saying nothing is men pick up the problems, men solve anything, men do stuff. My mom could not work, so they can't share that financial burden.
Right.
That is not the exact scenario with me and my wife.
Right.
But I'm doing verbatim exactly what he did and applying it to a situation where it does not fit. And what's worse, thinking I'm doing the right thing. So when you say something, I'm like, this girl tripping. You feel me? Because I do what my daddy did. This is my daddy house. I'm doing what I saw
Giving you the
great
soft
man.
life.
I'm taking. Oh my God. He had to care for my mom because she couldn't work, so he got it. That's again, my wife is able-bodied, thank the Lord. And not only is she able-bodied, it is her desire to work. If I sign a deal tomorrow and they say, Kev, you got 200 million. 500 million, Melissa would still work. Right? But I was trying, even to this moment a couple seconds ago, I want to replicate what I saw because I saw that was good. I saw my mom not have to lift a finger, so I'm trying to do that, but that's not who I married. My wife worked. We both worked before it was even legal. She had a paper route at 14, was working at KFC at 6. I'm talking about we was both working under the table. Then we came up top of the table. Ben had W-2, W-9 all the time. So I can't apply one-to-one on a situation that doesn't exist there. But I realized through therapy, personal and couples, your inner child and childhood stuff, you are either duplicating or replicating so much of that, and almost all of it is you are unaware of it. You don't even realize that you're afraid of this, afraid of abandonment, afraid of this, trying to replicate this, didn't like your dad, didn't know you. Whatever those things are, we replicate those relationships as adults unless we understand them and confront them. You are doomed to repeat them without even knowing you're doing it. That's why I be in therapy like, oh, everything happened to 7-year-old Kev? He didn't. This little boy was going through it. He didn't even realize he going through hell. I thought I was having a good time.
I'm in Atlanta crying on the side of Mildred Street, right across from Clark, Atlanta. It ain't even my house no more. It's a parking garage. I should have been let this go. But I'm out there. Because my therapist say, man, you need to go get him. Tell him he all right. You know what I mean? Little Los is all right.
Little Los all right.
He good. He let him know he's okay. And so I'm out there and I'm writing and doing all those things. I'm like, this is crazy.
Bro,
we just in the car on the way here, and I told him, I said, you know, a lot of times when we respond and we do things and it was connected to our childhood, we don't know how, as the responsible, new, you know, therapized person to respond to that. You're literally responding from that place of hurt or whatever that circumstance was when you were that child.
That actual
So
child.
the work is getting from responding as the child and responding as the new person.
100%. That was good, Tara. I literally just had a similar experience on Monday. On Monday with my therapist. She had me go into my mind and find little Melissa and what is she doing and like go comfort her. And I was just like, it's so overwhelming. And I read a lot of the books. Listen to them, child. I'm not sitting down reading nobody's book.
I'm on Audible too.
Yeah, I'll be on Audible. I listen to a lot of the podcasts. I follow a lot of the accounts on social media. So I do know a lot of things, but that doesn't always mean I do the things that I know.
Right.
Because you are going to respond from the place of the 5-year-old Melissa that thought I had to earn the gold star. Like that's my thing. You know, I'm the good girl personality type. So I'm like, oh, this is how people approve of me. I get good grades. I'm respectful and responsible, and I do the things, and I raise my hand very politely, and I mind my bit. Like, these are the things that make me a really good girl. Oh, and you like that. She's such a good girl. Melissa, she's so well behaved. Oh, thank you. So I'll do more of that.
Yes.
And so now that I'm an adult, it's like, well, you can break free of that a little bit, you know? And so trying to figure that out and what that looks like, it's like, girl, I'm not all the way. I don't. And then you bring that energy, that unhealed 5-year-old, 7-year-old into your marriage.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you find the people who make you relive those things.
Man.
You get attracted to that because that scenario feels familiar.
Absolutely.
Without even realizing it.
When I tell you she danced on them, and to this day, but I'd be like, dang, everything that you do that I'm needing to work on is a reality for me in this moment, right? I got to work on this because if I don't, then we need to find, you know what I mean? But she does. And I was like, that's crazy. I tell her all the time, we are definitely two peas in a pod. And a lot of the things that I do, dances on the things that she had to come up with and come up through and like, oh, okay. All right. Let's work on this.
Yeah.
We come from the same side of trauma.
Yeah.
Like, let's really deal with this. You know what I mean? It's
Trauma
just,
Street.
yeah. But also those things help you too.
Absolutely.
Same people.
The way that you protect yourself when you were a child, because I don't want to make it seem like everything is trauma neither. Right?
No.
Because,
it's not all bad.
No.
Yeah.
It
Well,
ain't all
just like
bad.
you
It's
was
just
right.
it's usually I'm not diagnosed, but it's undiagnosed.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize that. Like I tell the
Haven't
story.
dealt with it.
Undealt with.
Yeah.
Like when I got my first apartment, my dad got stationed in Spain. It was a hardship tour, which meant your family can't come. So I'm in 10th or not 10th grade, sophomore year
of college.
Sophomore year of college. So it's either go back to El Paso and drop out of college, and I'm not doing that, or be stuck. So I got to get on my own apartment. My dad co-signs for me. First month rent, I'm late, like a day, because the first was on a Saturday, and I was like, oh cool, I got till Monday. They put the eviction notice on Saturday.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
I said, God, the bank ain't even open. What?
Right.
Yeah, I can't
What
put
you
it in
want
there.
me to
What
do?
y'all want me?
Oh.
So I asked my dad for $200, and he was like, I'm gonna give it to you, but I can never help you again. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the world only cares about you as much as you can pay your bills on time. And he was not being mean. He really just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Right. He had to support 2 households in 2 different countries on 1 income. He ain't got it. I took that advice literally.
Yeah.
Which means I'm never going to ask nobody for help ever again, and I'll never even tell nobody I'm struggling. But I didn't, in that moment, I wasn't like, man, what a terrible father. I was just like, okay, man, he ain't got it.
Right.
It took me years to realize that I built so much of my personality on doing things by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to help you. You got to get it out the mud yourself. Like,
Yeah.
even when it didn't apply no more. I have my wife to help me. I got teams. I'm still like, don't nobody
Do it
love you.
myself.
Like, I added stuff. Don't nobody love you. Don't nobody
Hey,
respect
man.
you. You got it. I was like, he didn't even say all that. He just said he ain't had $200 right then. Right?
I
Hey,
just
bro,
said
I just ain't
yesterday.
got
I just
200.
said yesterday to my business partner, I don't gotta be friends with none of these employees. I'll do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, you can't do it by yourself. I said, I will. I'll do it by myself.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of adopt that, like my parents were like, why you didn't ask? I don't want to bother nobody.
Yeah.
I want to be the the good,
The good
perfect
girl.
girl who
Mhm.
don't, don't cause no problems.
enough.
And that came into my adult life, and that's that little girl that I had to be like, girl, you gotta stay back in 1985.
Come on.
Yeah.
And now we gotta get into 2023.
Now you can cause some
Yes.
problems.
And
Yeah.
you speak up, do your thing, say what you
Yeah.
gotta say. You done did school.
Right.
Yes.
This is
That's
life.
real.
Yeah,
Life for real.
and life is real. And if you're not careful, I know what I was gonna say. The thing about trauma, I actually agree that we overuse the word trauma. I
Yeah,
don't think that
yeah.
everything is trauma. I feel like there should be another word, but what I'm trying to say is what is true is that everything impacts you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either lean into it and become that even more, or you rebel against it.
1,000%.
And I think depending on just kind of where you fall, again, mine was I lean into good girl.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, you want me to be perfect? I will do everything in my power
To not be.
to not be perfect.
Right.
And like, I will tattoo my body.
Yeah.
I will have the kids. I will do
Yeah.
whatever you tell me you should not, I shall.
Yeah.
I absolutely 100% I
You're
shall.
exactly right.
So you end up,
And you're still doing the same thing.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
that's real.
You're just
You-
doing the opposite
yes.
or
Yeah.
the same.
Everything.
Either way,
ends up-
you're unhealed from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're unhealed, and everything you do ends up being informed by things that you saw or experienced as a child.
Yeah.
So I know my therapist always asked me. She asked me this one time in marriage counseling with Kev. She was like, we were talking about my good girl, and I'm, in my mind, my Melissa, she does this to me. This is, you need to stay in line. You need to be doing this. So she's like, who is it that you see? And I was like, girl, me.
It's you yelling at yourself.
She's like, yeah, but you learned it from somebody. Me. I don't know who, I didn't have a traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
I had good parents. They did the
Yeah,
very
exactly.
best
Yeah.
that they could. I wasn't abused. I wasn't yelled at. I
Yeah.
wasn't called, girl, it's me.
You
She's
did
like,
it.
no.
You
Yeah.
did.
You did
You
it.
did that.
Yeah. I'm like, girl, Kev always used this example. You want to pull back the Scooby-Doo mask. And it's like, hey, yeah, but it's me though.
It's
Yeah.
me. I already know it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the one holding myself to this unattainable
Yeah.
standard of perfection.
Nobody else did.
Nobody else. She's like, yeah, but you learned it. I don't know what to tell you.
You picked
Okay.
it up.
That's real.
And,
No,
you
that
know-
that A felt good.
Yeah.
That certificate felt good. That's what that was. It
That's
was a
how you validated yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling y'all, we got our business stuff together without getting too much details, but we used to have everything in one account. Coming from bankers, we know you ain't supposed to do that, but we ain't had it figured out. So there's a number I had in my mind that this account should never go below that. At the same time, we made the business decision correctly. These businesses need to be itemized. The money from podcasts needs to go into the podcast, pay the podcast employees. Money from merch needs to go in for merch. We set this up. I'm still looking at the one account like that number ain't right no more. Melissa, you know that all the money ain't going there no more.
They all going to these different.
We talked about that, but in my mind, sometimes you get set in your
Yeah.
mind and you
Yeah.
gotta let that go.
Yeah.
What is and my therapists be good because what does that mean to you? What does that number mean to you? What does that success mean to
Yeah.
you? What
The
is this?
meaning, yeah.
And you really be putting
Because go ahead. Nothing we do has an unassigned meaning. Everything
1,000%.
means something.
It does.
So a look, you're like, girl, I was just, but what it meant to me or what it felt like is that you
Yeah.
said you don't like me. Or what I heard you say through the look was, I'm done.
Yes.
What I
Look
heard
at
you
Tara,
say,
yeah.
yes.
Tara started bubbling.
Yes, because that's what it is. What I heard you
Percolating
say
over here.
through that look is, you right. I
said
don't know what
you
I'm
said.
doing.
You said what
Yeah,
you
you said
and
what
we
you
done
said.
applied something that the
Yeah.
person never said.
Absolutely.
We
We
done
done-
created a whole,
whole
thing.
Oh, we will be the
A whole
best
novel.
authors. Pulitzer Prize
Listen,
winning.
This
End
right
up-
here.
Oh,
So my therapist,
that up there.
one of the moments that I had a true breakthrough moment for, he was like, listen, most black men, well, when we first went in, me and Tara went together.
Yeah.
Our very first session, we went together.
And that's why I still thought I was perfect.
And so,
Because of
hey,
the-
listen,
yeah,
when I tell you a brother telling her, how about we just take everything off of you and put it back on him? You're great. He's like, why is she even here? I'm like,
let me go ahead and let y'all have this.
Hold on, wait a minute.
you know what? That's what I've been saying this whole time. You are correct. Matter of fact, can you refund me for
Come
my
on,
personal?
Mom.
Charge him twice.
Yeah, you should have just doubled me up because why did you come, right? He was like, all right, we're just going to take everything up off her and put it right back on you.
I know that didn't help.
What's going on? And so I'm sitting there like, man, this is crazy. But at the same time, I'm one of those guys, like she said, I'm very forthcoming. You know what I mean? I was raised to be able to talk, and my mama made me and my sister, you ain't leaving until you talk about it, right? And so as being an open book for me, because I never cared too much how people thought about me, so I thought, in that moment, I was just to be able to just tell him what I was dealing with, what I want to work on, and all of these different things. So he was like, he told me these things about, like, that's dope for you to be able to come in here and do this. But he said a lot of black men, we either fight, flee, or freeze. And he was like, you don't run from your problems like that, and you're not a fighter like that, but you're frozen. And so that's where the exercise came from, having to go to Atlanta and really think about the spaces of my life. What does this mean to be frozen? What does this mean to be stuck in a place? And so I realized I had a great childhood, right? Through the course of my life, I had a great childhood. I can't complain about none of it. Undealt with issues that were not dealt with through the course of my life. Moments, though, flashpoints. So like I said, we moved around a lot. So instead of dealing with it,
you gone.
I'm gone.
And you don't realize you're applying things like that.
Man.
Because it feels comfortable. I was reading Will Smith's Give and Go. We were reading Will Smith's book, and he talking about how, you know, he started making people laugh to prevent his dad from getting mad, so he would hit his mom. And then his dad was a general. He was a military person, so he adopted that personality. And you either give 100% or nothing at all. Like, it was on some Ricky Bobby, like, you the first or last type stuff. And the problem with that is his success came from that mindset. 100 million, I think it was like 10 movies in a row, $100 million. And what that means to him is that not that I'm great and I'm doing good. It means that if a movie doesn't hit $100 million, I'm a failure. Even if
That's
it hits
the value
82
attached to it.
Yes. Even if it hits 82 million.
Right.
I remember being mad at himself because a movie hit 82 million.
Wow.
Because it wasn't 100.
Yeah.
And that's where, if you don't process that right, I'll tell y'all, I figure out in therapy that the KevOnStage persona, right, came from, essentially boiled down, I used to play sports, AAU, basketball, football, was really good. I make jokes online that I wasn't good.
Kev was good.
It's not the truth. I was out there hooping for real.
No, Kev was good.
I was out there hooping for real. Though. I just don't want to talk about it. No tape like you had to be.
Yeah, you know, because they're going to try to call you
They
to
gonna
the
try
court.
to say, they gonna say what you got.
Show
I
it
was
to
out
me,
there
Kev
hooping.
was still good to this
I was
day.
out there hooping. Don't let the body
It's
fool
because
you.
he's competitive.
Yeah.
I was out there hooping for real.
Yeah,
I say
Kev,
that, yeah.
Kev
So-
will will himself to win.
Right. So, but my parents were busy starting businesses and stuff, so they were never at those games, right? And I've seen other friends, you know, my one homeboy's dad, retired military, he driving all the way to every away game we have, 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, no other parents are coming to that one. He's there. And that's the person I'm noticing, Melissa's parents at the track meets and stuff. So I'm like, okay, y'all didn't come to these sports. I'm going to get so big that everyone will notice, right? Millions of people will come to my games, these shows or whatever. And that is all just because the people I wanted to be in those stands weren't there.
Yeah.
But the problem is my mind don't think that's a problem. Like, I'm out here sold out every weekend, sold out, and didn't realize that was the people you want still ain't there.
They still ain't there.
Now my parents was like, man, we was working. We sorry. We didn't know how much it meant to you.
Yeah.
If we knew, we wouldn't have did that stuff. And I'm like, wait.
And they also be at everything.
And now they be at everything.
Everything.
Now they get down my nerves.
It come full circle,
My
right?
mom,
Yeah. Go
I said,
home.
pull up to the show. Can you give my son the bill? He in that green room. I didn't say that.
Yes.
Ooh, they be
Now
doing
you
that.
have every time I'm all in within 5 hours of North Carolina.
I'm coming.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
because I
there.
remember what you said. I know what's
Yeah, I
there.
wasn't-
I wasn't
yeah.
there.
Can you go ahead and just fly me there?
No,
coming.
now
I'm
you're there
coming.
too much.
Yeah.
I want you to go back in time and go to my games when I was playing AAU.
Right.
Nah, you done come to Richmond. but the point
that's
is, and
hilarious.
my other therapist said this. She said, the thing about it, everything isn't bad. You just need to know
that's real.
when to use that stuff. Like,
Right.
I can be a cutthroat businessman. It ain't about never doing that, because some people really are trying to play you.
Right,
And you really got to
absolutely.
protect
You
yourself.
gotta know.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you really got to have that hard work mentality, and you really got to get after it by yourself. It's just when you don't know why you're doing stuff, or you're doing it for the wrong reasons, or you're doing it and you're unhealed, you're trying to fix something that there's never going to be enough people in the stands if
Yeah.
I really wanted my parents there.
Right. That's
Madison
real.
Square Garden being sold out ain't going to matter if it's just 2 people I really want to see there.
Yeah.
Now they coming, or my wife, I'm chilling. You know, but I still got to go do that Madison Square because I'm that nigga.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Come on now.
Got it.
But
You
it
will.
ain't
Talk
from a
about it.
place of unhealed trauma
Yeah, I
anymore.
feel
It's
you.
just
Yeah.
out of competitive, like
Got
healthy
it. That's what I want.
competition. So I think I don't know how our parents were not doing therapy. Our grandparents definitely weren't doing
Absolutely
therapy.
not.
So I
It's a lot
I
of
can't
stuff
even
they weren't
blame
doing.
them. Melissa always says that she gives her mom a lot of retroactive grace because they really was doing the best
Yeah.
that they could with what they
Come
had.
on, man.
You
I
know?
talked to my
Better.
mother
You better
last night.
preach.
We
Yeah.
had a great conversation, and she was in Atlanta not too long ago, walking down the street where we grew up on Boulevard, and she was like, "Man, I never thought I was gonna feel how I felt, right? Walking down
Wow.
and just being in that space.
Yeah.
It took me right back, being
Right back.
with you, my sister, y'all little kids in that apartment, a little 3-story high rise
Right.
on Boulevard, and you know what I'm saying? It took me there.
Yeah.
And so, but it was such a beautiful conversation because she was like, "Man, I realized how much I've grown and where things
Yeah.
started for me. Right? This change started in that apartment.
Yeah.
So I had to go back there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
I
so,
love that.
like you said, they everywhere now, right?
Now they everywhere.
at all the shows. So it comes full circle when we find balance in it. You know, because it's not all bad. You
No,
know
it's
what
not
I
all
mean?
bad.
It's
No.
just
And they were trying to build a life for us.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't realize at the time, like, you trying to provide, like, the Army ain't paying enough, so they trying to run a little side business. They wasn't, you know,
Yeah.
but there's 1 or 2 occurrences where I got a game and you come home and you watching Jeopardy, and I attribute every game to
everything
that.
to that.
Yeah.
Every- to
Like,
that.
you could've
that
been
was-
in
But you know, in the
game.
child's
that was
mind,
one,
that's
that
what
was
it
one
is.
time, though.
When you longing for that parent or for that
Yeah.
man in the child's
Yeah.
mind,
One
that's
thing
the,
sticks.
it
It is
explodes.
every
And
game.
you create, I mean, who knows how long they had been at the house. They
Right.
probably just sat
Walk in.
down.
Nah,
Yeah.
they was there all day.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
they knew my game was happening.
They knew
and I
it, and they didn't
scored
show up.
double
They did not
digits.
support me.
Yeah.
Y'all watching Jeopardy?
But
They
that's
took
how
the call
they
button on knowing you were
Yeah.
finna go into the game.
showed up. You know this game
Don't
finna
ask
I
start.
said, man, who is Kevin?
Our
Shut
head
up.
boy be creating
We
some
watching
things.
Alice
Man.
Trebek.
Come on, True.
I mean,
man.
that's what therapy offers. It allows you to, you know, my therapist, because the perfectionist thing, she's actually, I have a life coach and therapist, but they were both talking about, like, you need to start practicing more self-compassion. And I think that's what therapy allows you to do, is not be who you are without being unaware. It allows you to
Yes.
be more aware of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going through life like me, really, really hard on yourself all of the time.
Yeah.
And then you talk to someone and you realize, so everybody's not like this.
No.
Oh, I'm the only one that be talking to myself like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
okay.
I remember my dad and my mom apologized. They said, "Man, we are so sorry. Could you forgive us for this?" I said, I don't know how to do that. This is a core tenet of my. Y'all not supposed to apologize. I want to be mad at y'all.
I want to stay in that place. It makes me feel good,
I don't-
comfortable.
This is it.
And he said, my dad said, "You
Comfortable.
never even told us."
Yeah.
You right?
Yeah.
I just been holding on to that. I ain't never
Yeah.
told y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all was fueled my fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. He was like, "You never. We
Oh,
didn't
you're
realize how much."
emotional.
Don't call it out, girl. Now it's over. I felt the twinkle.
It's
See?
all good.
Now
It's
she
all
called it
good.
out.
Come on
the
now.
show is
Let
over,
it go.
Cam.
Let it go.
Go to the wine.
go.
Go to Los
Let it
Catarah.
We learned
Don't
it.
call it out.
In improv, they told us to call it
This
out.
ain't improv. This is life.
And I want to be.
This is not
In
no
that
class and no performance.
They did me
This
like
is
that.
real
They
right
did.
now.
You did that.
You did that.
And you go out there, you tell that child, you tell them parents, you did that.
Yes.
You're the reason why
Yes.
I'm emotional right now.
Show enough.
They
And
did it.
the other thing, what you're saying though, is so real though, because we do want to have something to complain about.
wanna
Yeah,
be
that's
mad.
real.
But I
don't
want to
wanna
be
hear.
mad.
Come on,
Child,
now.
I
Because
will
if you
stay
ask
in the
for
good, I want to be
forgiveness,
mad.
now I can't.
So now what I do?
Now I still gotta hold it.
Now how
How
I
am
can't
I
blame
gonna-
y'all.
Yeah, I
How
can't
do I
blame
go
y'all.
through
You
life
said-
with you forgiven?
Yeah.
Right. That was my whole
So I
thing.
just like not worried about
That's
you
what I
no more.
learned about
I just
my
don't
father,
care
too.
no more. I
Yes.
love you.
And
Giving
because,
giving grace.
oh yeah,
Giving grace to those that you feel hurt you or wasn't there for you or whatever it was, and they finally come and apologize or they say what it was for them.
Yeah.
And now you still sitting there like, but this what it was for me. And they're like, I feel you. I'm on to this one though. You know
I'm
what
on,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
You gotta move on
I'm
to
at
it.
this stage left. I can't do it no
Dog.
more. And so now, when you sitting with yourself, grace for self is, man, really the beautiful
on.
thing about God showing us who we are in His image.
Yeah.
Because if we can't give ourselves that grace and we can't see ourselves and be like, man,
Right. Dog, I meant to listen.
Get
You
it.
really unlocked something talking about grace. My real dad, I was mad at him forever.
Yeah.
You don't call me, you got to text me. I'm shooting. You got to text me. You can't call me like you want me. You want to do things your way. I'm busy. You got to text me. Everybody got to text me, right? Told him this. This man said, I drive a 18-wheeler for a living, 12, 14 hours. If I text you, I lose my job.
Yeah.
If I lose my job, I can't feed my family. I am sorry. I can only call you because I can't have my hands on the wheel. When I tell you, I was like,
Muted.
Yeah.
what do I do with these emotions? And I
Because
know
you have
just
a
ain't trying to
legitimate
lie.
reason.
You
Yeah.
calling me because you want to talk to me,
You really
and
wanna
you
talk to
also
me.
got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And then the other day, I don't even know if I told you this, Liz, because I didn't know what to do with the feelings. He called me and I was shooting. He texted me and he technology resistant. I mean, worse than my mom who can't see. She get the Siri to working.
Yeah.
He texted me, man. I called you, couldn't catch you. Just want to say hey. So now that text is like, oh my God.
You done did what I asked.
You done did what how can I be mad at you? Now all my people that I was mad at is acting right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a failure now because all my doggone
Because-
I'm on that Jordan. I gotta create this scenario.
Right,
I
you
need
did.
that.
Chip.
I did.
Yes,
I
I
need
need
something.
a chip.
You don't believe in me. And Cameron, I know what you said about my back.
Does it
and
hop
Los,
to
you don't
somebody
respect
Yes,
me.
does it? Well, yes, it
What
has
does it-
to
does it transfer?
because
Yeah.
trauma becomes your personality.
Yeah.
That pain becomes a personality trait.
If you don't heal it, then
Yeah.
you will misapply it to people where it isn't there.
Yeah, it ain't
Deserve.
done.
Yeah.
I'll make Melissa the villain.
Yeah.
Because I was really villainizing her. 2 boys at home. You don't come to meetings with me. She like,
How?
Yeah.
I'm picking up the kids so you can go.
Right.
Somebody ain't got to be there for me. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I don't know how to function.
And now that
Right?
I did that with Tara. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There will be moments it's like she grinding on her side with the business, I'm acting voiceover, whatever. I'm on. But when it was time where I needed something, and I'm like, I want you to be the one to get this to me. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like you're supposed to get this to me, especially when I've articulated to you, this is a space of concern for me. So
Yeah.
now it's like, come on now.
Right. I need you.
I need you. You know what I mean? And she
Yeah.
looking like, man, you got me.
But this is a
But
lot.
this is, I can't
I
get
got
you
this
on this
much.
one. And so we were talking the other night, and I told her, I said, man, I coming to the realization you are not supposed to be my everything, but you are my everything.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good. Let's
I
go
gotta
off on that.
find,
That's good.
you know what I mean, other spaces that can fulfill the things that I need, because it does come from spaces where if you ain't there for me,
Who is?
who is?
I was doing that to Melissa. You need to be there for me like my parents was. My therapist was like, she is not your mom.
Yeah.
Right.
You
And
mad
it's a
at-
heavy burden to
yeah,
carry.
like you giving her
Yeah.
unfair stuff. Like
Yeah.
she can't. She's your wife. She ain't supposed to
Yeah.
be there in the stands for you. Like
Yeah.
that's another issue you got to figure out. And a lot of times this, and I get this. You know, I'll close it out after this. People be like, I don't want to do therapy because it's too much work. And I'd be like, really? If you in there for real, it is a lot.
Oh no,
Yeah.
It
it's
is
a lot of
work.
Because the
It is.
more work you do, all you really do is uncover more.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you'll ever be fixed because you still fall into your old habits and stuff. But I feel better as a person after, at least, even if I make the mistake,
Yeah.
at least I can identify
Yeah.
and come back. Because a lot of
And
times,
you
in
got
my-
tools.
yeah, I got tools to
Yeah.
apply. Other times, I'm just doing stuff and I don't even realize why I'm doing this or feeling this way. At least now I know where it's coming from and I can more properly deal with it as
Yeah.
opposed to just not knowing why I'm doing stuff. Just
Yeah.
that's the shadow work, my therapist calls it. Like you got to understand why you do stuff. It's the stuff you're unaware of. And the dangerous thing is doing things you don't know why you're doing them, why you're
Yeah.
repeating the same behavior,
Yeah.
and why you just, no matter who you with, as people leave relationships and find
It's
somebody
gonna come
new.
with you, yeah.
If you won't do that work,
It's gonna
you
come
gonna
with
find
you.
the exact person you just left.
You're gonna
Yeah.
divorce
You
for the
are
fourth
still you.
time.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
come with you.
Yeah.
Just like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, that man says, no matter how fast you are, you can't run away from your own feet.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Hey,
Dang.
come on, boy.
I said that children's book,
He be
movie.
speaking truth.
I said,
Hey.
dang.
Watch that tonight.
Hey, you be trying to run off your legs.
Yeah, right.
You trying to go so fast.
That
with your
shadow
own
will follow
thing, boy.
you.
big nubs, man, for real.
That's
Yo, Cloudy with a
We
chance
gotta have
of
Los Catarah
meatballs.
back.
Hey, man,
we love
anytime.
y'all, man.
That was a good time.
That was
Love
a good time.
But see, what people don't like, I feel like we done kicked it off like from
Day
get
one.
go, day
Yeah.
one. That's why I know y'all good people. I was talking to Tad the other day, and I was like, you know what? I was like, they just
Good
good
people.
people.
Yeah.
You know, like just
Yeah.
y'all automatically felt like family, and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's
It was
like,
immediate.
You've been out here in LA for so long, you don't really meet new people.
You
Like
sure
you
enough.
done already
Yeah.
made establish your
Boy.
family group, and to be able to say that y'all are, that now after we've been here 20 years is
You met
it's a
new
good
friends.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
We was
real.
on that yacht.
Yeah.
Living
Boy,
it.
my
Okay.
belly was
Hey,
out.
come on,
The
man.
wind
Didn't
was
nobody
blowing.
care.
Come on,
Come on
boy, bellies was out
good
somewhere
Fat
in
fly,
shape.
baby.
Me
You
and
know what
I
I'm
said,
saying?
"Yo,
Come
look
on
like
now.
me."
Yeah, and you
Look
look like
at me.
me.
I said, "This is what I
Come
need.
on now.
I don't need Chance.
Come on now.
Chance is thin. Get him out of here."
Malnourished.
I'm
You know what I'm
malnourished,
saying?
man. He
You looking
needed
at some healthy brothers. You know what I'm
Chance
saying?
ate some cornbread and grits. Me and Los could have the cornbread and grits. And we look like
You look
it.
good.
It
You
look
look like it.
good.
Yes,
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Making friends as adults is hard.
Yeah,
Child, that's
man.
the next book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Friends be hard.
It's not
Friendship be
easy.
hard.
Yeah.
It's not
No,
easy.
it's not
But when you
easy.
can, when you can laugh and not take yourself too seriously as a
Yeah.
couple, as human beings, and then you find people that are like-minded. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see, man, God working in them just like God working in us.
Yeah.
And you just, okay.
We gonna be all right.
Let's talk. You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah.
get to know each other. Like
Yeah.
she said, it was instant. It wasn't no
Yeah.
nothing. It was
Yeah.
just what it was.
It
And
was
this
just
is what it
was.
is.
It
And
was
so
what
that's
it
a
is.
beautiful thing.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of the things, just as we close out, that really inspires me with Los and Taro, because we've seen them obviously a few different times interact together. You guys have a genuine friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so like above apparent to me that I enjoy. It is so easy on social media. I follow a lot of couples to commodify your relationship on social media because, like, listen, you can make a lot of money being a social media power couple. Okay,
Yes, Lord.
so there is a lane for it, but to see people, let me move this. To see people off camera. And there's very specific moments when we were actually in Cabo, because that was the first time we like hung out. Well, that's the first time I met y'all.
Yeah,
Talking about
yeah,
the first
it
time we
was.
hung out. Yeah, it was all of it. Hung out, met, all the things
All
together.
that
All
one
that.
time.
Yes. And you guys were like off in your own personal world. Together, and I was like, this is the cutest, most adorable thing I've ever seen in all of life. And I think that is what is not only is it inspiring, but it's so authentic, it's so
Yeah.
real, and it's not
Thank
something
you.
that I have to post about or you have to see and we have to like figure out a way. It's just like, no, we just like each other very much a lot, and that's very much the
Yeah.
relationship. So anyway, I say all that to say I love you guys.
Love
Thank
y'all.
you guys so
Love
much for
you
joining
too.
us. This was a good conversation.
This is
This was
great.
great. This was
I
amazing.
really enjoyed
Y'all,
this.
Yeah.
Thank
y'all all
y'all.
right with
This
me?
was
Yes.
amazing.
Thank
This was
y'all so
amazing.
much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell the people where they can find you.
So, I'm at Catarah on Instagram.
I am at Losography on Instagram, but we are at
Together.
@themcoolin_Colemans together at @themcoolin_Colemans. You can
Yeah.
find us right there.
Very
we
good.
be in there doing things together.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Coolin',
literally say
coolin',
very
coolin'.
good because of Tabitha Brown.
Very good.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for today's episode of Marriage Be Hard. See you on the next one.
Peace.